Have you ever wanted to swap faces like I do on my JWong Edits? Well, today I'm going to actually give a tutorial of how to do so because a lot of you guys wanted to know how to swap faces. Now, if you're new here, what JWong Edits is basically like a series where I do requests that you guys ask me to do, and the most popular thing people request me to do is swap people's faces. Usually it's actually fun to do and a lot of people enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, click right over here. I'll put a video right here that you could go check out, my latest video where I swap faces such as Mr. Major with Zac Efron and so forth. If you're a Photoshop professional or someone with a really good background, you're probably going to find a lot better method than I do, and if you do, please leave it in the comments below, because comments do help me figure out how to improve my series, and also this tutorials help you improve your Photoshop, so in return everyone learns a little bit more throughout this tutorial. So what I'm going to do is go to a example everyone's been requesting, even though I've done it before, PYBZI with Parker, and we're gonna do that step by step and show you how to do the face swap. Alright, so we're gonna be starting from square one. Now, what we're gonna figure out to do first is do a canvas size. Now, the canvas size that I usually use is 11 inches by 8.5 inches. Now, you can make this size whatever you want. It could be wider, shorter, whatever fits two faces, but I figured that putting a usual typical paper size in landscaped helps usually put both faces on there. You can make it a little bit wider if you need to. So the first thing we're going to do is get the images. Now, you can get these images from Twitter, YouTube, or whatever, but make sure they have been publicly posted by the user. You don't want to be using people's faces that have been that haven't been posted without consent, because that would be violating their privacy. Well, so the only way you can take their photos if they have them publicly on their social thing or whatever that is on their page, not someone else's page that someone's leaked. Be careful when you do so yeah, we always respect people's privacy. That's the first thing you need to know. So for YouTube, I usually like to take, for Parker's, I usually like to take his thumbnails, and so how to do that is you press Control U on your keyboard. Now this brings up a bunch of stuff you don't understand. I probably don't understand it. It's basically the website. So what you do is you press Control. Now I'm using this on Chrome, so it might pop up differently on other people's web pages. But you're gonna be using, if you're using Chrome, you press Control U, and I think that's the same for Internet Explorer. So and then from there you press Control F, and then you type in OG image. From there you'll find this, which is the link. This is the link to the thumbnail in its maximum resolution. Once you press this, boom, you get a nice picture of Parker. You press copy image, paste that image onto the thing, and then from there I usually like to put it on par with the resolution of the canvas. Now we probably won't be needing this because that has nothing to do with the actual subject. That we just need Parker's face, and this is a great face of Parker. Looks really nice here. Now for PYBZI, I go into his Instagram because he has a lot of pictures on Instagram. So we're gonna pick this one or this one. Let's pick this one, and we're going to copy this. Now I could do you could go like this, which is like copy the image from the screen, but a better way to do it is to right click, left click inspect element, and the image file will appear right here. This link will show the picture in the full resolution. You right click this image. I recommend using Google Chrome when doing this, and then you left click to copy the image URL, and then you paste that onto your URL browser, and you get a nice crisp image of PYBZI. So we're gonna put that on there as well. Free transform it, and a good tip for putting up to scale is holding shift. Holding shift increases the thing without changing the aspect ratio of the image, which is a good thing because you don't want to change the aspect ratio. Now we can go here, and then this is where I usually try and measure out the faces to scale, so that in the future when I swap the faces, I'm not really just having to like resize it because one of them's way too large or one of them's way too short. So this is about on scale to do editing with. Now, if you've already noticed already, I've been using CS5, not CS6 or Creative Cloud or whatever the latest one's called. But I think the newer ones, they still have the same features, and the older ones, I'm not sure. So from here, how I do my faces, and there's multiple ways to do this, is using a tool called the polygonal lasso tool. Now it's kind of like the pen tool, except for you're actually using where you're actually selecting it at the same time. Now I've never used the pen tool before to select things, so I have no idea how that works. So we're gonna use this, and basically this is the best way, in my opinion, to select a good region of someone's face. You could use quick selection tool, but I can tell you straight out right now, it is probably not the most effective way. Like, for example, like, look what I just did right here. I just copied a decent amount of the face, but it might not be the thing you want. It might start copying like someone's hair. It might copy like random bits of the background. You're not really sure, so we don't want to do that route. We want to do something that you can have full control of and full awareness of what's going on. So what this does is basically you click. If you click on one point like that, it moves to the next point, and then you can click here and all that stuff. Basically, it does it in such a way that you can kind of like trace it, but except in a polygon type of fashion. So now it doesn't have to be really good, but it has to be good enough that you have all the important details about it. You probably want to get more outer of the face than inner, because if you do want some of that the whole face more on the other face, you probably want to more of the outer edge than the inner edge, because then you can also add bonus features like the double chin right here. Now we're gonna go here, and what we're gonna do is start tracing around the outside edges. My goal is usually just to get the outside edges of the face, not including the hair or ears. You could put the hair and ears, but I don't usually find it a good way to blend on a person. It doesn't really add much extra, except for yeah, it doesn't really add much extra to the face, because the face is where the meat and potatoes are on this on these face swaps. So we're just almost done doing this. I'm doing this nice and slow to show you how to do it. So basically, you just pretty much click wherever you feel like it's appropriate to put a curve or a turn around, because you might be turning a lot in this polygon tool. It's kind of hard to explain in my terms, but when I think about doing it, it's very straightforward. You just click wherever you feel like the line's gonna turn. So once you start clicking and reach the other edge, you'll see this little circle right here. That means that you've completed the whole shape, and now once you press this, the click will be finished and this will appear. And then from here, make sure you select the right layer, and then you press Control C to copy the face. Then you press Control D to deselect the selection. If you accidentally screwed up, press Control Z to make that come back up, and then press Control V, and there's the face. Now I'm tending to make this tutorial longer than usual, because I want to get all the details so you don't screw up along the process. So I'm pretending that you're brand new at using this and you have never experienced using this. But so what I used there was left click, right click with using the selection tool, which is the dotted thing with the square rectangle. You right click it, and then you get options saying free transform. Now you left click that, and this is the most important part of aligning the face, because you want to align the face in such a way that it matches PYBZI's face. Now my method of doing it is reducing the opacity to 50 and figuring out what facial features are matching and which ones aren't on the face. Now as you see right here, PYBZI's, it pretty much aligns right now, which is what I said earlier, having them almost a near identical ratio is good. But we might want to stretch it out a little bit, because the eyebrows in PYBZI's picture, as you can see right here, are a little bit longer, and so we just have to spread this a little bit wider just to align the faces a little bit better. And I think right here is perfect. The noses line up pretty well, the mouth lines up really well, and so do the eyes. So we're gonna press enter and put this at 100%, and we're going to put this on unsee right now, so this thing's gonna turn off. Don't worry, it's not gone forever, it's just invisible right now, so we can work on the other face. Now as I said before, you got to select the area that is going to be used more likely on Parker's face, because PYBZI's face is going to be used on there. And the only roadblock about this whole picture here is the fact that the phone's covering his chin. So it's not a big deal, because we still get the most important part, which is the facial features. But you just have to go around the phone now. So there we go. We got around the phone. We got around the hugest hurdle of this all. And now we're just going to speed this up because we've done this already. We're going to circle around here. And we're just about done. Boom. And that was a little bit quick. So we're going to press, select the layer, Control C, which is copy. You can also right click and select copy. And then Control V, which is paste. Now the face is on there. And we can move it over here. So, as I said previously, we're going to do opacity 50%. Select the selection tool, right click, free transform. And we're going to align the face to make sure it lines up nice. So right here we notice that if I was to leave it as is, the face, his lip will still be showing. So we move this a little bit downwards, just not too much, and also thin it out a little bit because it's a little bit too wide. And from here, that should do it. It's about lined up. It'll work out in the future. Now, the one tip that I can't teach you on is learning to have a good eye for things. You have to have a good eye to figure out visually if you're doing it right or not. And sometimes a lot of it is based on your judgment. So having a good judgment does help you make a better face swap. So we've already lined up the faces. So here comes the fun part. We're going to start doing a face swap. So the thing you want to do first is take layer 4, which is this face right here, and we're going to start blending it into Parker's face. Now, the way you want to do this first is add a layer mask by clicking the layer and left clicking this logo right here. And what that's going to do is help you do trial and error based blending. Now, how this works is it kind of works like an eraser, but you can go back in time. So what you want to do to smooth out all the edges is left click this white box right here. Now how this works is white keeps the image and black removes the image. So what I'm talking about is if I select black right here, it'll start removing the image. But if I select white, it'll bring back the image. You guys get it? Okay, so that's the main thing you need to know. So what we're gonna do is smooth out all the stuff that isn't needed. Now the things you want to be smoothing out is the edges of the face, because most likely the face is going to be altered, is different from the other face. So like, for example, as you can tell, they both have different facial features or facial structures, so we have to erase the edges because chances are it's going to be a lot different on both faces. And so we're going to go here and erase the stuff that we don't really need too much. And so we're done. We're pretty much done for now. We'll probably come back to this later. So one of the things you can do right now is start working with the levels. Now, don't press Control left on the white thing, because you'll notice right here it's going to be like this, and that's not what you need. What you need to do is left click this, and then it gets you back to the actual picture itself. This is where you can be modifying the picture to shape it into the way you want it to. Okay, so what we're going to do is press Control L, and we're going to do we're going to start working with the levels. Now, one way I could do it is select the color of this main skin. So to do that, you press Alt and then you left click the skin of Parker's, and then you do Control L, and then you press this little vial right here, and then you left click this. Now that matches the levels of Parker's skin, but obviously you can tell from here that the levels are this color is not the same. Now you don't have to do Control L, you can straight go to the color correction thing and it works fine, but I like to do it sometimes. But if it doesn't seem to work, you can just undo it and then go straight to hue and saturation and color balance. So what I like to do first is go into hue and saturation and figure out and do some color modification on here. This is where your personal eye judgment comes in and figures out what if the skin's matching or not. Now I can't really help you here this much because it's basically a bunch of trial and error. So basically it's about that for this color of the skin. You can go a little bit less dull here, and we're gonna keep trying. Let's go down a little bit more. All right. So it's about around here, but the thing is we're not. It's kind of a little bit faded on PYBZI's part, so we can't really do much after that. So what we're gonna do now is press OK, and we're gonna start blending the face in. Now what I mean by that is left click this layer and start working some blending on here. Now you want to lower it to 50% or maybe less, so you can start changing the face. And we have to also be careful too, because PYBZI's face is on top of Parker's, so there could still be some previous facial structure on Parker. Now we had to lower it down to 25. As you can see right there, sometimes when you merge it, alright, you're gonna be careful here because Parker's lips are right there, so we gotta get a little bit finer right here. And we start feathering it so we can make it a lot more closer to Parker's skin. Alright, gonna widen this a little bit more. Alright. Again, you gotta be careful because you can tell right there his eyes are still there. So what we're gonna do to solve that common problem, also get this little line right here. You can see that little line. I'm gonna concentrate a little bit there. So you can see right there is it's almost complete, but what you could try again is doing color balance. Now we had to go back to here, click that again. Make sure you're on the right layer when doing these editing, because you might screw up. And then we click color balance. Now this can be anything. This can help change it so in a way it almost matches it perfectly. Alright, and then you also do the shadow, mid tones, and highlights. Now Now you can just start doing left and right, and then just start figuring from there if it matches or not. This is a good way of doing trial and error. And there's not really a way I can explain it except for you have to move the dials left and right to see if it's getting closer or farther away. But if someone does know how to find a surefire way of finding the right tone or right thing off the bat, tell me in the comments below, because I would like to know if there's actually an actual guaranteed way of figuring it out. So it looks like the highlights was the main issue of PYBZI's face, because as you can see right here, we're actually getting closer and closer to actually making it look like it's his face. Now he's gonna, oops. Now we're gonna go here and start just putting some extra merging details. Oh. Let's also put some white right here. Let's get the white and. Is that the white? No, that's great. Let's go white. Alright, so we're back to where that was. And right now, it looks really fine as is. You really could just leave it like that. So, yeah, that's perfectly fine how this is. I think this is a near satisfiable product. It could be a little bit better with the shading, but as is, this is probably as best as you can go. Maybe I can go as well. If you're extremely talented at Photoshop, you probably could take it an extra notch and fix up all the lighting and stuff. But this looks convincible in such a way that it looks like it actually looks like PYBZI's face is actually indeed on Parker's. On the next one, we're gonna move on to Parker's face on PYBZI's. And there's nothing really different. As I said before, we're going to start here. I'm going to do this a little bit faster now because I already told you how to do the previous one. So we do add a masking layer towards the actual layer, and we start using black to get the details we really don't need. So we put this at 100 and start working that in. We'll go lower this paintbrush to prevent any things going on here. And so we go here, lower that opacity, right, lower those edges, don't make them stand out, and then from there, that alone might be a good way to see that you're doing it good. It could be done like, some people might just finish it right here, but we obviously in this tutorial are going the step and beyond. Now the cameras, now for bonus you could have left it like that, but the thing is the camera's right here, so why would you do that? We're gonna make it so the camera is still part of the picture, like so. Also, the brush I'm using is a feather brush, which is one of these type of brushes. You could use a sharp brush, but I wouldn't recommend that because what happens is your brush might make it look more edgy than it would smooth or blend it in. So I recommend using the feather brush here, but everyone to their own. Alright, next thing we're going to do is take this and go to Control L, which we're going to do again, and put the file right here. Now, as you can tell, that's way too light. The levels aren't corresponding with the actual image itself. So what we're gonna do is skip that step because it's not needed in that step. We're gonna go straight to hue and saturation and start working in what color it is, because it seems to be an orangey based color. So let's go like here. It actually seems to be very saturated as well. And I'm going to press OK for now. Now this is obviously not complete, so we're going to do color balance. And so this is the most important feature, is figuring out how to match it, because sometimes you can have this is the make or break it moment for most of the top part. Sometimes your image can go from going really good to really bad in a matter of seconds, and we're not going to make it go bad. We're going to do it good by doing color balance the right way. Now this part, as I said before, is all based on your judgment to figure out if it's right or not. Now I'm going to cancel that just because I think we could try something else for levels. Now, how to do manual levels is kind of complicated. I still haven't mastered myself. But this basically, the right side is where more of the darkness comes from, and the left side is where most of the brightness comes from. And this is the in-between. So this is like shadows, highlights, and mid-tones. Now, I'm not sure if that's actually correct or not, but that's a pattern I've been noticing when doing these levels. Now, if I lower this, it'll get more brighter. But if I do this, it'll get more darker. So, what I'm going to do here is brighten this a little bit here because you can tell that it's working a little bit with the face. And that's all we can do for that. There's nothing really else we can do. So what we're going to do next is lower the opacity of my paintbrush to 50. Left click the masking tool, and we're going to start working on the brush of fusing the face. Now we got to be careful here because we don't want to get rid of the important facial features like the cheekbones or the eyes, because sometimes when you do this, you actually start seeing the other person's eye, and that's not that means you're doing it incorrectly, or you're starting to get it with the wrong facial features, which is not what you want. So what we're gonna start doing here is start merging this with 50%. Alright, so it's starting to come a little bit smoother now, which is good. So we're gonna lower this now to 20%. So we can start putting so we start making it nice and merged, and then right there. And start feathering that all up. You gotta be careful there. And for the most part, this can be considered done. Make sure there's you can't see the other person's, can't see PYBZI's eye. You only see Parker's. Just gotta lower this down a little bit. Alright, gotta be careful. And just to double check if you can see the nose on here. You don't want to see the nose, and you don't want to see the extra eyebrows. Okay, so yeah, that looks like it's done like that. So on the left, you can see that this one could be a little bit brighter, but it's pretty acceptable as is. The right one's pretty good. It could use a little bit more details, but if you do follow these steps of that, what I've been doing is just getting the tune in, tune out, and start blending the faces together, you'll start getting a good result. Now, if you have any comments or questions about how to do this, leave it in the comments below, and I'll try my best to help you guys. If you guys have any feedbacks of how to improve or make it better, tell me in the comments below as well. This is a learning experience for everyone, so it helps me teach you guys something about Photoshop you may have known, and you guys in return can teach me something in Photoshop that I might not know. So if you like this, make sure you give this a like. If you want to stay for more content, make sure you give it a like. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to fix this right here. And as always, have a great day, please. See you guys later. I'm here.